טוב ומנעים שברכים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברכים גם יחד. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei ma tov u'manayim sheberachim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim sheberachim gam yachad. Sheberachim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, my partner, Cantor Rachel Rhodes.
Hi, Rabbi Amy Schwartzman. So good to have you back.
Thank you, and so good to be with the Temple family to celebrate Shabbat on this absolutely beautiful, turned out to be such a beautiful day, and hopefully it will continue into Shabbat and tomorrow, that we may really enjoy all that is out there, taking walks, enjoying sunshine, not too hot, we hope. May it be a good Shabbat for everyone. And we begin now with our Shabbat evening service. And I'm so pleased to do that with you, Rachel, and also to turn to our candlelighter and our colleague and partner, Anita Thornton. And Anita, before you begin, just a word to the congregation, a reminder that the prayer book is available to you. If you look at this very screen above the pictures, you will see a flip book, a prayer book. And if you'd like to click on that, you can follow along with the prayers on the pages that we announce now and again. We hope that'll be helpful to you. But actually, if you don't want to do that, you would probably be able to enjoy this service just fine by just going along with us. But over to you, Anita, for the candle lighting, and thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Rabbi and Cantor. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who may behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you so much, Anita, for joining us and for your beautiful spirit and candles on this Shabbat to bring us in. We continue on page 20, if you're following along with the prayer book, pages 20 and 21 for Lachado D, as we bring in Shabbat with this meditative melody that hopefully will allow us to relax in and welcome in that Sabbath spirit into our lives this evening. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem tila lecha dodi likrat kava b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kava b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Itoreri, kiva ore komi uri, uri shida beri, kivon Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likrat kava b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kava b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ב'nei Shabbat נקבלה lecha dodi likrat kava b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We continue now as we've welcomed in Shabbat with our worship service with the Baruch Hu on page 28. And if you feel comfortable doing so, I invite you to please rise.
The purpose of many of our prayers is to help connect us, keep us connected to our tradition in ways that are relevant, in ways that speak to us each week. Sometimes we hear the ancient in a prayer, and sometimes we hear a contemporary message. And as I was preparing for our service this week, I spent a lot of time in some poetry. I was in a poetry mood. And so I'd like to share a poem now that for me brings to mind the Shema, and for me, and hopefully for you as well, connects you to the opportunity to hear new messages in this and every prayer each week, each year. Here is the poem. Meticulous, mindful, the scribe writes the words that haven't been altered in 1,000 years. Yet each year they change as we read them once more, for we have transformed in the year that has passed. If once we believed that we grasped what they say, today we might see that they speak to us otherwise. Let's continue with the old and hopefully new Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated, and if you'd like to join us in chanting Ve'ahavta, we're on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'ribartam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
From these prayers, as you all know, we make our way to singing Mi Chamocha, the song of redemption, the song sung once we got to the other side of that tumultuous journey through the sea and began a journey, a new journey to a new place. Once again, I want to share in a prayerful way a poem that I think brings us to the moment of Mi Chamocha, the moment when God expected us to take those new steps and to do something with the potential redemption that God, having given us, we now could give to the world. I rescued you as birds immured with stiff and withered wings, saved you from believing that you still remained enslaved. I showed you in abundant ways that you were truly free and took you as my people in the covenant at Sinai. I brought you to the land, and I yearn to see you fly.
Bailim Adonai, mi kamocha, nedar b'kodesh, nora, nora tilor, ose, fele, nora, tilor, ose, fele, malchutecha ra'ulanecha, ke'ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeili anu ve'amedu, zeili Adonai Imo Leolam Vaed Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Lai. And we continue welcoming in Shabbat with our joyful prayer, Vishamru, on page 44. Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. We continue now on page 46. If you're following along in our prayer books with the Amidah, I invite you to please rise if you're at home and you feel comfortable doing so. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטוב. מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, melech mevit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lachayot hakol baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahlelucha selah. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh. If you are standing, please be seated. And we read together on page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. And we continue now with a few moments of our own silent prayer and meditation. Ose shalom bimromah, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromah, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'imru We take a moment now in our service to think of those in need of healing, of mind, body, or spirit. So many people in our world today are suffering, and we can send our prayers to them on Shabbat, offering them the solace and the wholeness that they need. And then on Saturday evening, after the sun sets, we can devote ourselves during the days of the week to fight for injustices around our world and in our community. We know so many of our members are doing just that, fighting for people who are potentially about to be evicted due to the pandemic, and we thank their efforts. And on this Shabbat, with filled hearts of gratitude, we send our prayers to all those who are suffering in our world, and especially in our community of Temple Road of Shalom. Tonight, we think of Alon ben Barbara, David Eliyahu, Hannah Esther bat Crandall, Chaya bat Devorah v'Yosef, Moshe ben Avraham, Nechama bat Chava v'Chanoch, Yehuda ben Fishel, Robert Alcaraz, Shmuel Beryl, Sally Bloomberg, Benifer Devar, Elizabeth Drabkin, Sydney Duberstein, Hannah Elka, Catherine Elrod, Robin Glazer, Scott Higgins, Karen Jackson, Lois Kramer, Susan Kussel, Eileen Marcus, Saul Miller, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Phil Rogoff, Deborah Roseman, and Philip Ross. And we think too of those around our world suffering those in Beirut still finding their way, mourning their loved ones and finding themselves in need of healing, and those around our world who have struggled because of terrorism or in violence in Israel and around our world. We send our prayers to them as we sing the Misha Berach together. Misha Berach imotenu Bekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for your beautiful voice, your beautiful spirit, your words that lift all of us up all the time. Let's take a moment. I want to connect us just for a moment or two to this week's parasha. It's always my first stop when I think about what I might share with you all. And as is so often the case, I never get further along because the portion always has something to say to me and to us. This week we continue to be in the book of Deuteronomy, where the people are standing with Moses, getting ready to make their way into the promised land. And Moses is speaking to them and charging them with the things they need to know to be successful going ahead into the land of Israel. Their experience, this moment, is so far from the reality in which we find ourselves right now. And yet, as is so often the case, it has a message for us. It speaks to us. Let me share this thought with you that I saw when I read through the Parsha this week. The name of the Torah portion is Ra'eh, based on the first important word. Ra'eh means look, eyes, look, see. The last word of the Torah portion is Yira'eh, the same root, and it means be seen. There are bookends in this Torah portion, Re'eh and Yira'eh, that have a message for us. No surprise. What's in the middle? The middle is a huge section where God articulates blessings and curses and reminds the people that acting or living with blessing or curse is a choice. The Torah portion says, choose blessing. And of course, you may know that later on Yom Kippur, we read the Torah portion that says, choose life. There's no question that Judaism believes that we have a choice, an option about every decision we make in our lives. When I step back from this portion to see it in the big picture, as well as that the ritual in the middle with the blessing and curses is really quite strange. It's about two mountains and a lot of yelling. When I step back far enough to see Re'eh and Yira'eh in between, on the sides of this charge about choosing blessing, I see a clear and timely message. The ability to make choices, to choose blessing, is contingent upon our ability to see, to look with our eyes, to see the reality of our world, to see the pain and the suffering in other people's faces, to see injustice, to see inequity, to see poverty, to see decay of our earth and more. Our tradition is calling us to open our eyes and take it all in, not just read about it, but seek out that which might be, and we know so much is, actually invisible, and to shine a light on all that might be hidden. This is the only way that we choose blessing over curse. And then, once we have seen and studied and taken in information and understood its impact, the closing word of the portion comes into play. It says, Yira'eh, be seen, meaning show up. Show up to choose blessing by actually stepping into the world, by working to right wrongs, to address inequality, and to care for others in real time, in ways that you and others can see and be seen. It's not enough for us just to do a bit of good or never do anything particularly bad. We have to step up and step in proactively, being present and being seen for working for good. In the actual Torah portion, the word Yira'eh, being seen, refers to a commandment to the Israelites to show up 3 times a year, the 3 pilgrimage festivals in Jerusalem. Apparently, everyone came to Jerusalem bearing first fruits and other offerings. The portion actually connects this to addressing societal ills, which is what speaks to us today. It says that if we show up, and then in the middle of the Torah portion it says, quote, the poor shall never cease to be in your land. Perhaps it means that the regular mixing together of rich and poor, of Jews by birth and Jews by choice, of every tribe of Israel, that influx of people physically together showing up, the experience of seeing one another could mitigate the vast inequalities that characterize daily life then and now, offering a model for communal solidarity and well-being to humanity today. Even though we cannot always at this time physically step in to those places where we are needed, our tradition says, figure out a way to make yourself visible. Figure out a way to put yourself in a place where you can be seen. First, you do a lot of looking and you realize what it is needed, and then you make yourself seen. You step up, you get involved. Once again, a portion that seems irrelevant and ancient speaks to us in our own day. Let me end with one little additional piece of this portion. There is a midrash, midrash is that creative text, that is connected to the opening line to the word Re'eh. This midrash tells the story of an angel who, for each one of us, leads us around all day long, protecting us from harmful demons by proclaiming these words, make way, make way, make way for God's image. To fulfill our human potential and become the image of God that this angel talks about, to make our world a blessing rather than a curse, we need to see the divine in others and to make ourselves visible in the world, to be there and to be responsible for one another. Remember these 2 small words, Re'eh and Yira'eh. Look and be seen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shar koach, Rabbi Schwartzman. Beautiful drash this evening. Thank you for your words of wisdom. We turn now to Aleinu L'Shabeach on page 282. If you feel comfortable, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר ארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה Shemo Echad.
And now we come, as we always do, to a moment of memory, focusing our hearts and minds on those people we have loved and lost at this season in years past, or those who have died recently. And of course, to all those people who are in the early days of being a mourner, we extend our deepest condolences, our love. We wish we could come and sit with you in your home. We could be not on Zoom for your Shiva minions, but in person. These are tough times to be a mourner, but we send you our love. The community wants to be there for you. In a moment, we will read Kaddish Yatom together. It's on page 294. But before the reading, I'd like to share the names of our congregants whose yahrzeits are observed this week, and those whose family members are observing Shloshim. We extend our condolences to Laura Sandberg-Fano on the death of her dad, Arthur, to Randy Allen on the death of his mom, Barbara Allen, to Bill LeBeau on the death of his dad, Raymond LeBeau, to the family of Tom Ziegler, to his children, Hannah, Alex, Nina, and Jonathan, to Armin Weiss on the death of his sister, Carolyn Gurton, and we think and remember our dear Temple Rosh Shalom member, Barbara Goldlust. To these names, we add the names of people whose yahrzeits are observed on this Shabbat. Phyllis Baer, Paul Baker, Robert Bergman, Larry Berman, Ida Block, Dorothy Borenstein, Irene Chernock, Manuel Kamras, Max Daniso, Beatrice Eisner, Rhoda Epstein, Bertha Estra, Lee Filerman, Joseph Filerman, Francis Goodman, Richard Greenwald, Irene Henry, Mildred Hilborn, Eugene Husick, Ann Kaufman, Edward Kirshner, Louis Kittiver, Robert Kluge III, Sonia Levine, Blanche Levy, Henry Magid, Charlotte Romanovsky, Sylvia Saferstein, Dorothy Shemaskin, Marcus Simon, Philip Sternberg, Anne Waldman, Alberta Willens, and Muriel Wolf. And we think, too, of all those people throughout our world who have died at the hands of war or natural disaster or other tragedies. We turn now in our prayer book to the Mourner's Kaddish. It's on the screen, but if you have a book, it's also on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yonat mechon uv'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudisha birchu. Leolam mimkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imeru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace and comfort, strength and love and support to everyone who is mourning, to everyone who is grieving here and everywhere, and let us say, Amen. We have a few, before we make Kiddush, may I share a few things? So first of all, I'd like to give a great shout out to our two young men becoming B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow morning, Gabriel and Jude Rogan. There they are. looking forward with Cantor Rhodes to be at their service, and they're such nice and super guys. So that's exciting. I also want to encourage everyone to check in with our website, our programming. I know that I think it's this Saturday night is a Wiccan flick. There might be. I think there is. So look for all the good things that are coming. I also want to give a really mention, as Cantor Rhodes did, there's an incredibly important effort going on right now, which is to stop evictions. Right now, it is estimated that there are 550,000 families, mostly African and Latinx families, who cannot pay their rent because of job loss and economic insecurity in this month of August. And we are working with our partners at Voice, Virginians Organized for Interfaith Community Engagement, to ensure that our state does not allow these people to be evicted right now. So there's a great video about this on our Facebook page. Please have a look and see how you could be helpful with this effort. Let us now end with Kiddush. Cantor Rhodes, over to you for the Kiddush and a closing song and a prayer. I'm getting my Kiddush cup. Just one moment.
Okay, we're on page 5 for the Kiddush. And Rabbi Schwartzman, while you're getting your Kiddush cup, a thank you to Laura Rash, too, who's been behind the scenes with us today, and to Cantor Shakit as well, who helped us as well. Without our village, we wouldn't be with you at each Shabbat. So thank you.
And Anita Thornton, our Director of Caring and Inclusion, who led us in candles.
Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikroi kodesh Zechel Yetziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim B'Shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Hinchatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. How about a closing song?
Yeah, Rabbi Schwartzman, you spoke so beautifully about seeing and being seen, and this song popped into my head as something that might correlate a bit with your beautiful words. Nire, or the music, or the words rather, come from Psalm 36, the music written by my mentor, Cantor Benji Ellen Schiller, and it's speaking about how in the light of others, we see our own light, and we also see the light of God. In your light do we see light, in your light do we see light, Be'orecha, 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 Nirei or, Nirei or, Nirei or, Nirei or. For with you is a source of life. In your light do we see light. Kimcha mekor chayim be'orecha nirei or. Be'orecha, be'orecha, be'orecha nirei or. Nirei or, nirei or, nirei or. In your light do we see light. In your light do we see light. Be'orecha
Beautiful. May God shine divine light upon this world so that we may see what is invisible, what is hidden, what we need to see, so that we can step into that light and that spotlight to do good, to show others the way, to be role models, and to make the world a better place. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.